Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our transfer show, our Arsenal transfer daily show, in which we give you guys all the latest Arsenal information, keep you guys up to date with what's been going on, trying to make some sense of it, and get your thoughts too in the live chat as well. I hope you are good. It is Friday, if you will. Thank God it's the end of the week. And thank God it's the last day before football can start again. I don't know what it's been like for you, but even yesterday, no European Championship football, nothing. I know the Copa America was going on. I know there's MLS going on, but it's just something missing. Just feel a bit empty yesterday. And today's going to feel a little bit similar. And it all kicks off again tomorrow. And I will be at Wembley tomorrow to watch Italy against Austria. I'll try and get some footage. I might put together kind of a mini vlog kind of thing, but not with me filming myself in the ground, because you're not allowed to do that, as you've probably seen. But leading up to it, just before the game kicks off, maybe I'll do some clips and stuff and put it all together so you guys can see what it's like going to one of the games. So there you go. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. I hope you can hear me okay. You should be able to. Fingers crossed. I hope the audio is fine. Someone said you can't hear me, but I'm hoping that you can. Anyway, let's crack on with the first story of the day, which revolves around this guy. You may have seen this tweet yesterday, and I know that he's watching. And it's interesting because I saw a lot of people get on this tweet, and you've probably seen this. I just want a massive credit to Alex Cullen yesterday evening, who spotted this. A few people DM'd me this and obviously wanted me to do an ITK rater. There was a very good reason why I didn't do an ITK rater on this. And, suspicions were revealed this morning, but you may have seen this. This is what you need to be careful of when you're looking at ITKs, especially with lots of likes. It's for this sort of thing. If you can spot it now, then you know. Excellent work, Gerbil. Excellent work is all I will say. So, anyway, let's crack on with the real transfer stuff of the day and start off with Martinelli. Now, don't worry, he's not being linked to the move away, but it is something that may concern Arsenal's transfer business this summer. Martinelli's obviously didn't make the Olympic squad this summer, and that is ultimately a little bit of a disappointment for him. I think he really was hoping to get to play for the Olympic squad, but that didn't happen. However, there is a chance that it still may go ahead because of Pedro from Flamengo's forward playing in Brazil. Supposedly is not being allowed to leave the club to go to play for the Olympic team this summer, and therefore there is a chance that Martinelli may actually receive a call-up. Now, this affects Arsenal's transfer business because he will not be available throughout pre-season. He will not be available at the start of the season because of rest, and that may mean impacting on players that are playing in wider positions, like, I don't know, Reece Nelson, for instance, that age, or you'd hope not Willian. But Arsenal may want to keep hold of a couple of those players at least until, obviously, we see the fact that we see people like Nelson and Willian or whatever being able to train, being able to sort themselves out effectively, and then Martinelli can come back and they can, because the transfer window goes on beyond the start of the season. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I thought it was something that was worth highlighting, that's for sure. Let's go on to the next story, which revolves around Lucas Torreira, the Uruguayan international, away with his nation at the Copa America at the moment. He is supposedly very much being helped now by Arsenal to secure this exit. We know that Lazio are a team that are very much interested. Arsenal are wanting a figure around 20 million euros. If Arsenal can get 20 million euros, I'd be ecstatic with that, considering everything that's happened. But as suspected, and I remember when we covered this, of course, he went through a tragic period. He lost his mum, and it's awful for anyone who has to go through that. And during that period, straight afterwards, there was a very highly emotional period in which obviously he was desperate to move to Boca Juniors. And we talked about this on the show. We said, look, let's just wait for the dust to settle, for this period to just kind of calm down, for reflection to take place, and then we'll see where we're at with Torreira. He did tank his value at the time, 100%. But with time, it seems that the situation has recovered, and that he is He's got his, he's thinking a little bit straighter maybe now, and he's basically accepted that a move to Boca Juniors just financially isn't not going to happen economically. It doesn't make any sense for Arsenal. So a move to Lazio is apparent, and his interest is to move to Italy, it seems, with interest from other nations. But it looks like he could go off to move to Lazio, and Arsenal could get a decent and a pretty penny for that as well. So that'd be great. Let's move on to Granit Xhaka, a Swiss midfielder. This one, as we've talked about a lot over the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however longer. I feel like we've been talking this for ages. Again, more reports came out yesterday that Arsenal and Roma are getting very close to agreeing that key figure that we're waiting to find out. It's a frustration that this isn't getting done, of course, and we want to see it get done. But again, I will keep saying this until Switzerland get knocked out of the European Championships. I feel like that's when it will become apparent. Switzerland are playing France in the last 16. You would think that France would knock them out, and then that deal will take place, and that deal will go through. So we may not have to wait too much longer before Granit Xhaka's move to Roma is completed. Let's go on to William Saliba. Now, we talked a lot about this in yesterday's show. I've tried to sort out an inside track show for you guys, where we get on people that are more kind of in the know about things. But I'm going to be speaking to Chris Carpenter, of course, from A Bergkamp Wonderland, and he's the host of the French Football Weekly podcast. I'm going to be speaking to him tomorrow afternoon. A lot about Saliba, a whole dedicated show about the young Frenchman, getting his thoughts and feelings about the situation and how that affects his future, how he feels about it. He's given me stuff in the past he's heard things about. So I know he's someone that I trust with French football information. And so we're going to be chatting to Chris tomorrow. So I hope you appreciate that show, and we'll talk a lot more about it. You can hear actually more of my detailed thoughts and the thoughts of some of my members and guests on some of the shows we've done this week. So make sure you do check those out. Lokonga, and of course as well Ben White, who will talk about both of these guys. The pair of them are looking as if they will be Arsenal's first signings of the summer, which is great. And it's looking like these two are going to get done. You saw the news break about Ben White yesterday. We covered it in our dedicated show on him yesterday afternoon, the Ben White News Update show. So if you want to find out my overall thoughts about that, then you can watch that show. But effectively, what I want to talk about here is the focus of Arsenal after these two signings. Now, one of the big things about Ben White, of course, has been that many Arsenal fans feel a little bit aggrieved the fact that basically Arsenal are focusing a lot of money on a centre-back. And I understand people's reservations because they want to see us spend money in other areas of the pitch. And I also did a show about this with Sophie from the Highbury Squad. If you want to check that out, it was a really good chat, and you should. I think that basically White's signing does not have any impact on the spending capacity of us on any other areas of the pitch. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about the situation. So you shouldn't think that it's going to, in my opinion, you should not be concerned that signing White will have a detrimental effect on how our capacity is to spend money, and decent money, on other positions. Now, Arsenal's focus, I don't think you should expect Arsenal to suddenly, after these two signings are confirmed, for us in the next few weeks to pull off another few signings. I think now the focus is going to switch. I think the focus will very much move on from bringing in a couple of players, making sure we've got a couple of deals done, to getting players out. Because at the end of the day, Lokonga comes in, now we're at 18 non-homegrown players. We need to see Xhaka move on. We need to see Torreira move on. We need to see Guendouzi move on. I would be surprised if any other deals got done in the short term, and I'd expect more deals to get done towards kind of July period, which is a shame because, of course, pre-season starts very soon. But I think Arsenal are going to focus their efforts on getting players out now after these two come in, which I think is, it's completely fair enough. You need to get the money in. You need to make room in the squad. It makes 100% sense that is the way that Arsenal are going to move. So that's how we feel the focus is going to shift after White and Lokonga come in. The focus will shift to moving players out. And so I think they'll integrate these two into pre-season. They'll get the likes of Saliba back for pre-season, and I do believe he will be played in hopefully anyway, be played in pre-season. That's my feeling on that. doesn't make any sense to not give him a chance. But, not much sense has gone on with the Saliba situation. So we'll wait and see. But very much my feeling is that Arsenal are going to now shift focus and move away from transfers in and very much focus on transfers out before they get sorted. So Lokonga and White, feeling good about those two over the next week or so, and then we will focus efforts on getting players out of the club. So if you see any kind of big ITK accounts going, Arsenal are imminently going to sign Maddison, blah, 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 take it with a massive grain of salt, people, because how this works. And Sunday we'll be back for the ITK Rater Show. I look forward to highlighting some more crazy rumours on Sunday's show. Anyway, that concludes the news. So let's move on to the next part of the show, which is, of course, your thoughts, your feelings in the chat box. Now, it is Friday, which means we are going to have a chance to answer plenty of your questions later on in the Q&A show and the phone-in show. We are doing a phone-in show at 5 o'clock. I've already had a fair few people DM me asking to come on. I'm still happy to have some more people come on as well. So if you are about 5 p.m. UK time and you'd like to jump on for a few minutes to have your say on White, on Saliba, on Arteta, on the handling of the transfer window so far, then give us a DM over at the Gooner Talk TV. It's right there, and you can come on the show, and that would be great to have you on the show and have your thoughts and feelings heard. Of course, if you are over 18 years of age as well, obviously too. So let's get your thoughts and feelings in the chat box. Trilby says, "Oh yeah, I never thought of that. White could be signing to play more of a right back than a centre back role." Again, I talked about this yesterday. I'd be surprised if Arsenal was spending £50 million on a centre-back to then put him in another position. It seems counterproductive, but it's not impossible. Derek says, Tom, do you think Arsenal could shift to a back three with Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White for the new season? It's definitely possible, Derek. Again, something we talked about yesterday. A back three is something that has worked successfully for many teams. It's worked successfully for Arsenal. We won an FA Cup playing that specific system. We started off the season last season really well playing that system, and then we shifted to a 4 and had some issues until we could find a natural number 10. We also had struggles with the 3-4-3 as well, of course, but I think we are better placed to play that system now if we wanted to, but we will wait and see. Matt G says, have Villa put in a bid for Xhaka yet? Patrick says, will Chambers leave? I'd be surprised if Chambers left. I'd think that Cedric would be more inclined to leave than Chambers, but you never know. Anything can happen at this stage. Noel says, can we kill off the idea of White playing the inverted right back Cancelo role? Surely that role requires creative output. White is great at a lot of things. I don't think that is one of them. Speaking about White, you may have seen me tweet yesterday, and you can follow us at the Gooner Talk TV. Our sponsors, who are Football Prizes, they sponsor our Let's Talk Arsenal shows, and they do prizes every single week. Link is in the description. The guy who runs it is a guy called Bill, and he's a big Leeds fan, and obviously Ben White played at Leeds the season before last, and Brighton were desperate to try and hold on to him. Leeds were desperate to try and get him, and he texted me yesterday saying, hello, mate. If the Ben White rumours are true, I honestly believe he is a snip at £50 million. You have got yourself a world-class centre-back, in my opinion. He was immense for us last year. He is real quality. And it is something that I want to talk about on the Q&A show and the phone-in show a little bit later on, is I feel like if you took away the Saliba situation, like imagine for us in an instance that Saliba didn't exist, and we were talking about Ben White purely and solely as an independent kind of case, not thinking about Saliba, not thinking about the other positions on the pitch that we need to kind of, go for. I think that the mindset around this would be very different. Now, of course, those things do exist. Saliba is around that we've got to consider, and we obviously need to invest in other positions on the pitch. However, I don't think you should let that cloud your opinion of Ben White. Sure, and let it affect how you feel about Arsenal's pursuit of a centre-back, but I don't think you should let it cloud your view of Ben White, the player. Because Ben White, the player, is very good. Like, there is no doubt in my mind. He's a very good centre-back with the potential, in my mind, and from expert insight from we've got on the show before, with the potential to become a really top-class, arguably world-class centre-back in the future. And sure, we haven't got a world-class centre-back right now, but we've got real potential to have one, and I think one that's actually better than the ones that we've got already. So if you remove the Saliba situation, you remove the fact that we need to sign players in other areas and just focus on Ben White solely, it's a really good signing. The thing is that Arsenal need to now sort out the Saliba situation. Needs to be guarantees of that. If Rob Holding's future is affected by this, then so be it. Sell him, get some money for him, bring Saliba in. we need to sign players in other positions, yes. But it's just important to focus on the Ben White as an independent thing because we're signing him. So just be patient, wait about the other positions. I'm sure they will get sorted, or I'm hoping they will. It's blind faith, of course. But focus on it independently and try not to let your opinion be affected by that of the player, because your opinion be built up about kind of the position, but not necessarily the player independently. Thabo says, I think Arsenal fans are panicking at White's price because Arsenal has never spent that much on a defender, and Saliba's situation is making it worse. Of course, the nearest we've come is spending 30 plus million on Mustafi, which would make you, it would make you consider the situation a little bit more. I'm just timing you out now. I'm fed up of you trolling. Sahil says, if given a choice, would you go for Guida, Rodriguez, or Bissouma? Consider both of them. They are available for the same fee. I think with Guida Rodriguez is obviously he would need a transition time, whereas Bissouma doesn't. I think Bissouma is someone ultimately that is a real quality addition to Arsenal's team. And the thing is that he wants to come to Arsenal. He's got the desire to play for Arsenal, and you would think would want to really fight for the situation. But he's not clearly high up on Arsenal's list, and there's not much we can do about that right now. Answer says, Leeds was playing in the Championship, Tom. Come on now. Yeah, so have a lot of players that have gone on to do really well. How desperately did people want Emi Buendia? He also, if you want to hear what a Premier League perspective is on the same thing, go and watch the tactical breakdown that we did on Ben White with Jeremy Smith, who is a French football expert and Brighton fan. And even he says that he's got world-class potential coming from the perspective of a Premier League season. So, answer, it doesn't stack up, I'm afraid. Jashar says, never mind the potential signing of White. Personally, if I was Saliba, I would want to go. We have treated him terribly, and our pastoral care is very, very questionable, especially after the loss of his mum. Now, we don't know what's gone on behind the scenes, Jashar, obviously, after that happened. We do know what's happened in regards to his playtime, and it's not been great. We do know that there's been also other issues and other controversies as well. You can't legislate for a situation like that. It's awful, and to be honest, no one really knows the facts either. Like, there was a lot of speculation that came out. Nothing was ever fully kind of clarified around any of that situation. So the fact that people were speculating about it in itself is just despicable, really. And it's a real shame that story came out the way that it did, without facts, without clarification, because you can't use that situation without the facts, and a lot of people have, unfortunately. But what we do know is that he's not been getting enough minutes. He deserves minutes based upon his loan deal at Nice last season, and if he doesn't get a chance, I will be very, very frustrated. Divesh Mount came from Derby, of course, playing on loan there. So did Tomori. Writing players off because they've played in the Championship is naive. Is very, very naive. Amandeep says, why does Holding get so much stick from our fan base? Not from me. I've backed the guy a lot. I've said I think he gives you a solid 7-ish out of 10 every single game, pretty much. It's just because he's not an exotic kind of signing. He's cost 1.6 million quid. It's a shame, because I think he's a real good servant to the team. His performance has helped us win 2 FA Cups, was absolutely brilliant in those FA Cup finals. And he's just a decent player for us, good squad player. I don't think he's good enough to be Arsenal's starting centre-back going ahead, like their number one centre-back. Is he good enough to be a squad player for Arsenal? 100%. But he's not a player that I'd be giving shade to, because he's given a lot of very good performances for Arsenal. And he was, if you look at the defence last season, the record that we had, the defence was far from the issue. So that's not the area that we should be heavily criticising, to be honest, because it was a very decent defence last season. Tom says, Leeds literally have almost the same team that they had in the Championship now. And it goes to show you how good they've competed with that Championship squad. So it's in itself is a great argument still. So fair play. James says, Holding isn't consistent enough to start for us long term. I disagree. I think it's not about consistency. It's about quality. I don't think he has the level required to be a starter. I think he has consistency. As I said, he gives you pretty much a 7-ish out of 10 each game. consistency doesn't come in for me with Holding. He doesn't have the world-class quality for me to be a starter at Arsenal every single week. But I wouldn't question his consistency because he's consistent as a player and always kind of has been. Dan says, have I spoken about Mavropanos? No, I mean, actually, yeah, I completely kind of missed the Mavropanos thing. We talked about it yesterday. It seemed like he was going. Mavropanos, obviously, the deal that David Ornstein tweeted was that it's a loan with a obligation to buy should they stay up. And the fee was like 3 to 5 million quid with a loan fee of £500,000 and a sell-on clause inserted in there as well. Look, am I disappointed with how low the figure is? Yes. Am I surprised it's that low? No. 2 reasons why I'm not surprised. 1, it's Arsenal Football Club. We have a history of selling really badly. 2, Stuttgart can't spend a lot of money on a player, and there's not a lot of interest from other teams. Like, there's not exactly loads of teams queuing up to sign Mavropanos, really. And so I think that it's, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. I'm not really going to sit here now and go, look, it's an awful bit of business by Arsenal because we've got bigger fish to fry. We've got bigger things to sort out. It's just as simple as that, really. Alan says, Tom, is that right that Ben can also play as a DM? Have you seen him play DM? Is he that good? I mean, I actually think it's probably good if we do a dedicated show at some point looking at Ben White positionally, go onto Wirescout, look at some of the clips, do some tactic stuff on him, get an expert on to talk about him positionally. Because in just a reaction question, I'm not going to be able to give you the amount of insight you need. He has played there, but actually we should probably have a more deeper dive into looking at how well he plays in that kind of DM position. Josh Shakespeare says, Ben White is as versatile as Chambers. If we can get 10 to 15 million for him, would you accept and recoup some money? No, I'd rather get 10 million for Cedric and keep Chambers. Much rather keep Chambers. Justin says, where are we at with the goalkeeper news? The Onana stuff's gone very, very quiet. Arsenal seem to have paused their interest on that and are looking more at homegrown options. Leno's future is still uncertain. We don't know what's going on with that. So there's nothing in the goalkeeping area at the moment, I'm afraid. Arsenic Gunner says, Tom, Mavropanos played against United. We lost a Fellaini header, and then he played in the infamous Crystal Palace loss at home, the Benteke return. Why is everyone overrating so much? Because they're individual performances, Arsenic. You can't make a judgment about Mavropanos based upon the Arsenal performances we've seen so far that were ages ago. You can make your assumptions on how he's played in the Bundesliga this season, which is very well, in a back 3, which is always the caveat, of course, but he's played very well. For Stuttgart, really good playing out from the back, some good passing, good speed, good recovery pace, good tackling, good interception rate. He's been good for Stuttgart, and I just think he's worth more than the money that we're seeing being associated with him. But the demand kind of, dictates the price. So that's what it is. Matt Thorne says, with the Times reporting that we are looking to sell Holding, are the Times reporting that? Indeed. Let's have a look. This is why you pay for a subscription to the Times. So let's have a look to see if they are indeed reporting that. Please, someone send me a DM so I can find it much quicker. Looking at, if someone could send me over a DM, then I can have a look at that. So please, could you send me the link to that article? Thanks. Let's go to Son of Ayan, who says, young players are still improving. So if any players have reached their ceiling, the coaches should know. If we make a few signings, I'll hold the manager and coaches responsible. I don't think it's about reaching their ceiling. I think it's more not reaching their ceiling. I think that players like Reece Nelson, you haven't been able to see the potential of Reece Nelson because he's not got the minutes to play. And so I think that's ultimately why we've not seen the most of him. I do think the chances that he's been given, he hasn't necessarily taken. I don't think that we've seen the best from Reece Nelson, mainly because of consistency, because he's not been given the best opportunity. But in the chances he has been given, he's not taken them, in my view. I think he's missed key chances. He hasn't applied himself correctly. His movement's been poor. His deliveries have been poor. So, granted, he's not been given the consistency to be able to build that up. But in this game, at this level, you need to take the opportunities that you're given at the end of the day. That's just how it works. Dave says, coaches are always looking at partnerships and the blend, great word, in the squads, i.e. how the players play together. Maybe White and Gabriel could complement one another, or Saliba could play as a left kind of centre-back. We will wait and see Dave. But using words like the blend of defenders, the balance that you find in the squad is so important. Orlu says, how many midfielders should we sign? Others are linked, others are linked away, apart from Partey. It depends who goes, obviously, but I mean, if Xhaka goes, I think you're looking at minimum 2, including Lokonga. I'd like to see Lokonga come in alongside a Neves, alongside a Basuma, alongside a Guedo Rodriguez. It's one of these kind of signings. That's what I'd like to see from Arsenal. Eager says, hi, Tom. I think fans forget Saliba has just turned 20. If we want top 4, we can't put that burden on his head. My only problem is if we could go for a ready-made centre-back at the price as Saliba develops. And you never know, White could be that player. He is Premier League quality already, of course. He has still got a lot more development to do and to get a lot better than he already is, which in itself is exciting. Rich says, Tom, apparently Brighton want 50 million for Basuma rather than the 40 we thought originally. 50 million is a lot, but they know that Arsenal have got the money now to spend, so I'm not surprised that price is being. But Basuma does want to go, and maybe he will push for that move. Maybe he will force that move. We will have to wait and see. PSF says, I'm a Leeds fan, and I'm shocked at the doubts that the Gooners have about Ben White. He will make your defence watertight and aid in transition. By the end of the season, you will know he was the best signing. Again, PSF, I hear this from Leeds fans. I hear this from some Brighton supporters. It's not in my question. It's really not at all in question whatsoever about his quality in my mind. But unfortunately, because of the situation that he finds himself in, moving to a club where Saliba exists, where there is a real need for Arsenal to invest in other positions, there is always going to be criticism of this kind of signing. And it should be on the position and criticising the move to spend this amount of money on this position, not criticising the player, because the player is quality. Venkatesh says, Tom, is there a reason why you're wearing a black shirt today? I mean, I wear black T-shirts a lot. a lot. So there's no specific reason other than it's just, I have a lot of black T-shirts. Ashton says, question, so who will be the number 10 player, Maddison or Aouar or any player? We will have to wait and see on that one. I think that's one that's going to get sorted out further down the line, to be honest. Justin says, do you think Ben White is undersized for a centre-back? No. I don't think he's undersized. I think that this is a big overrated quality in defenders, about their size, about their height, about their aerial ability. I think aerial ability is massively overrated, especially when you're playing alongside someone like Gabriel, who has that height. That's really important. Anyway, thank you so much to Matt for sending through the link to the article. Reportedly, Arsenal are reportedly interested in this. Yes, Ben White, Holding. Where's the interest about Holding? Holding has had his injury problems, but last season the 25-year-old did well. The former Bolton Wanderers player made 28 starts, blah, blah, blah. However, the Brighton star could be seen as a replacement for David Luiz in other news. So it doesn't even say about Holding leaving. Arsenal are now likely to sell Rob Holding, okay, according to the Times. Let's click on the link to the Times and see what the Times have actually said about this. I can't put it up on the screen because the Times is behind a paywall, so I can't, unfortunately, show you, but I can tell you what's been said. So if we have a look at Holding and see what's been said by the Times. Okay, Arsenal already have Rob Holding, blah, blah, blah. Chambers has a year left on his contract, but showed he could fill in at right back this season. Holding is likely to be available for sale despite signing a new deal until 2024 after a loan move to Newcastle collapse. Konstantinos Mavropanos, another centre-back, has joined Stuttgart on loan. The loan fee is expected to be 500,000 and the obligation worth about 3 million, which is just a joke. So the Times are reporting that Holding is likely to be available for sale despite signing a new deal. So there you go. If Holding goes, he's signed a new deal, he's a Premier League quality player, you should be looking for upwards of £15 million, maybe more, than this. You've got, how old is Holding now? He's 27? If Arsenal can't get a good deal for Rob Holding, he's 25. He's even younger. I thought he was older than that. So he turns 26 in September. You should be looking for a good deal for a centre-back that's been very good for Arsenal. And I mean that. He's been consistent. He's been good. He's been very good in certain games. Arsenal should be looking for a good deal for an English homegrown centre-back. Absolutely. 15 million might even be underselling it. But if you're seeing the likes of Ben White go for 50, if you're seeing the likes of Harry Maguire go for 80, Holding should be worth upwards of £20 million. Like, really, genuinely, should be worth upwards of that. So if you want to sign Rob Holding, you got to pay the money because he's a very, very decent centre-back. Anyway, I think we are going to wrap things up there. Nice to finish the show on some genuine information. We'll be back a little bit later on today, 5 p.m. UK time, for the phone-in show. As I said, if you'd like to join us a little bit later on, if you'd like to come on the show and have your thoughts heard about Holding, about Saliba, about Ben White, send us a DM over at the Gooner Talk TV. It is right there on the screen. You can see it rolling across the bottom. Drop us a DM and we'll try and get you on the phone. We got on the show. We got a few people coming on. I'm looking forward to getting some of you guys' thoughts. It's going to be great to have some more people on and make some debuts too. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, of course, and keep yourself up to date with all the latest Arsenal transfer information, then please do. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do by joining up as a member as well. I'm going to enjoy my day off other than that and have a bit of a rest because I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to get the words out today. It's been a bit of a stop-start show, but apologies for that. But it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys as always. And as always, up the Arsenal.